Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask BQ on Bloomberg Quint. I am Agam Vakil and with me is Alex Matthew. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Agam. Well, as you probably know, if you've been tuned into Bloomberg Quint, we've been covering this entire escapade, if you can call it that, with regard to Mindtree. We will continue to do so over the course of the day. But for now, in the interest of time, we're going to jump straight into Ask BQ. Let me introduce you to our two experts. Of course, you can send all your queries to us, as you know, on our social media platforms. We've got Kalra of Target Investing and Aditya Agarwala of Yes Securities. You saw them both in your on your frame, but let's jump straight into the stocks of the day, if you can call them that. Samir, what do you have to say very quickly with regard to this entire issue with regard to Mindtree?
I think it's better to exit Mindtree and all the related stocks for a while, see how it pans out, and then take a call on the fundamentals and the situations. Because I don't see fundamentals that attractive at these kind of valuations, because midcap IT is facing a lot of pricing issues, which I think will hurt their margins going ahead.
Okay, what is very curious is, while Mindtree itself, the shares haven't really moved as much over the last one odd month, what we've seen is a significant surge in the underlying open interest over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And naturally, this has to do with, the news flow and the speculation with respect to VG Siddhartha's stake. So let's also take a look at a technical view here, as far as Mindtree is concerned. It's gained as much as 7%, Aditya, but how are technicals stacked up here?
So there is a good volume in trade today, obviously because of the news flow that's there around Mindtree. But apart from that, I wouldn't be too bullish in the stock, especially post the stock has run up from about 870 levels to about 950 already. At current levels, I would rather, if somebody is holding on to it, if I just take a look at the technicals, put the news flow aside, I would want to book out profits at current levels. I see stock sliding down to levels of 901, 905 zone. That could be an area to look out for, but not at current levels. I would want to take a bet if I just keep the news aside and just purely look at the technicals.
All right.
Okay, well, that is the counter really that is in focus today. And you've got both the fundamental and technical views on that. Let's jump straight to the live queries that we've got. We've got a Love Lap. I'd really love to know what your name is, Love Lap. But you've got a question on Godrej Agrovet. You've not told us what your time horizon is. I'm going to assume that you've bought at 640 and you want to know where the stock is headed in the near term. So let's take a technical query, technical check of it over the next 1 year or so.
So stock has sort of bounced back from levels of 470 and went all the way to 520. It's cooled off from those levels of 520, somewhere around 500 zone. So 490 happens to be a good strong support for the stock. I would recommend hold on to the stock, put a stop at 490. If it starts to trade below 490, then you can have a fresh round of selling, which can drag the stock to 460. So for the time being, put a stop at 490 and hope for the stock to bounce back to levels of 540, 550. But that would be my upside for the time being. 550 I see is a good decent upside.
Okay, well, there's a question with respect to Embassy REIT, and we are getting a lot of them, so we may as well get that one done as well. Samir, if you've taken a look at this particular IPO, your view here?
Yeah. So I think it's good to minimum subscribe it. Because I think beyond that, it's very difficult to get an application and allotment after that.
Yeah.
Seeing the anchors, which are around 39 anchor investors.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a big rush, being the first REIT to be listed. And if you see the discount to the assets is sufficient on the lower band and the higher band as well.
Right.
But once it gets listed, even if it's on a listing of a 20-30% upside, the whole discount evaporates.
Correct, yes.
Then it'll be a very tough call to buy at that point.
Right.
Because if you see it's giving around 13 to 14% of next 3 years post-tax earnings.
Right.
So that discount has to be factored in at the moment you buy it. So around 20% for the assets, 14% for next 3 years of earnings. So that's 34 to 40% should be the discount when you start buying it.
Right, right.
That should be the actual discount which it should run parallel to. Any further down discount will be a good place to buy. But anything upside will be a risky bet.
So for now, what you're recommending is go in for a minimum subscription.
Yeah, that's all.
And then watch for the listing price.
Yeah, that's how you...
All right, so comprehensive, well thought out answer for everybody who's looking and wondering what to do with the latest IPO on the blocks. Let's take a question, a long-term query. This one is from Facebook. Siddharth Kumar has got a question for you, Samir. Yep. This is on Sequent Scientific. For the long term, the stock is currently trading around 79 or thereabouts. Just about 3.5% higher in trade today. And it has been rising from levels of as low as 43 or thereabouts towards the end of 2018, and it has gone up, as you can see, to levels of 80 as of now.
Yeah, but if I see the numbers which I'm just seeing, I don't see anything exciting in that. And the debt is there. And quarterly earnings are very volatile. There are 13 crores profit, then 3 crores profit, then 5 crores profit. So I don't see any consistency for being in there for a long term. And I think if you're trapped on the top side, you may well take that loss and get out.
Okay. Or don't get in the first place. Okay.
Okay, well, moving on to Shrikant's view on IDFC First Bank, and it's on a short-term basis. So I'm going to take a technical check here. He actually wants to know what can be done with it. He hasn't mentioned if he's already in it or no, but it's currently at 52.8, up 1% today. But Aditya, your view here?
So it's a good up move that we've seen for the stock post the merger, and from 40 odd levels it's jumped up to 53. I see one should continue to hold on to the stock. There can be another up move in the stock above 52. Stock can test levels of 55 to about 60. So my suggestion would be hold on to the stock, put a stop at 48 and remain invested in the stock. You can see good upside in the stock even from current levels.
Okay.
Okay, Samir, so you know, I know that, and we were speaking about this briefly before we started this program about the automotive sector and the kind of concern that's really building into the entire space, really. But if you were to talk about the ancillaries, and here Gautam Chopra is asking for a view on Apollo Tyres, how do you rate these, and would you steer clear of these as well?
So I think auto ancillaries, especially on Tyres side, we always stay away because they are very heavy capex companies. And they always have stable market shares. So no one really fights out on the market share to gain that pricing power. And almost everyone is a price taker rather than a price maker. So over there, the margins will be always dependent on the crude and the derivative, which is the import or rubber. So I think these factors make it more commodity business. And it's better to stay away from Apollo Tyres or MRF in a certain way.
But not even the export-oriented...
Balkrishna has the edge, so we favor that. But right now, I don't see any upside for them.
Okay.
So it may be on a hold for us right now, but we are not going for a buy as of now in any tyre company.
Okay, so, well, we actually want technical views on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. We have a question from Hemant Gaikwad, who wants the same on both these indices. And we also have a question for Farzad, who has a specific question to the Nifty Bank with respect to this week's expiry. That is tomorrow, considering Thursday is a holiday. So, you know, okay, so Aditya, let's get in a short-term view on both these indices, and then perhaps you can extend that to the Nifty Bank with respect to tomorrow's trade as well.
So honestly, the Bank Nifty has moved up. I'll first take a look at the Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty has moved up in excess of 10% this month so far. That's a massive move as far as the one index is concerned. Post this up move on, if I move down to shorter term time frame, an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart or a 120-minute chart, I see multiple overhead resistances and negative divergences, which is telling me that this up move might be towards the fag end. We might be towards the fag end of the up move. So my recommendation will be to look to exit if you're making money. So in trade today, we are witnessing PSU banks run up quite a bit. So my recommendation would clearly be to book out profits wherever you're making profits, if it's purely for a trading reason that you bought into any of the banks. On the index level, I see good resistance around 29,900 as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned. My first take would be it can slide down to 29,400, and if it breaks 29,400, we could be in for 29,200 or below that also. So we could be in for a good correction as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned. Same holds true for Nifty, though there could be some more upside to Nifty. I see levels of 11,600 to about 550 as far as Nifty is concerned. But having said that, again, on the moment I move down to shorter term time frame charts, that tells me that again the up move that we've seen in the Nifty as well is towards the fag end of it, and we could see some profit booking kick into Nifty as well, which can take the markets lower to about 11,000 in the zone of 11,250 to about 11,300.
Right.
Okay. Let's look at NCC if we can. Let's pull up the chart and see what it's trading currently. We've got Manas Agarwal, who's got NCC at levels of 89, and he says, please pick my question. So I'm going to do just that.
Yeah.
Sameer, what's your view?
So I think he's got down at a good valuation. But if you see the business, I don't see infra companies doing well in 2020 financial year, because there will be slowdown of order inflows, there will be slowdown on the receivables. So he can ride the trend. I think technically he can be helped out. But on the longer term, I don't see anything which makes me hold on to the stock.
Okay.
Okay. Another question from Kira on YouTube, and this one is on Castrol. He wants a short-term view here. He's bought Castrol at 158. Wants to know what can be done, not too far away from the current market levels of 160. Aditya?
So I would recommend hold on to it, would put a stop at, there is weakness from the top, we're seeing that. As I was talking, the underlying in the markets are seeing some bit of profit booking. So hold on to it with a stop at 158. If it starts to trade below 158, that is his cost price, exit from the stock, because then stock can slide to 150.
All right.
All right. Let's take a question on the mid-cap space.
Yeah.
Let's try and keep the answers as short as possible. We'll try and take as many questions as possible in the remaining time. Anand Shivaguru has got a question for you. 5 mid-cap companies. You don't have to stick to the 5. What are the best picks in the space?
So I think Petronet, then you can go to JT, KT, that's Sonakoyo earlier. Then you can go to Oberoi Realty. Then you can go to maybe a Yes Bank. I count that in the mid cap even today. Then you can go to a valuation bias mid cap for me is Tata Motors.
Okay.
I don't take it as a large cap in that certain sense.
But that's a contrarian view, of course. A lot of people have been advising.
Yeah, because that only pays off, right?
Okay.
On the longer term, contrarian only pays off well.
Okay, so we've been getting a lot of questions on the PSU banking space. So I'm going to take one from Ujjwal Kumar, and his question is on Karnataka Bank, which he has bought at 126, and he wants a short-term duration. He wants a short-term point of view. Again, making a little bit of a profit at this point in time. Aditya, how would you help him out?
Okay, so I would suggest put a stop at 127 and ride the trend. If it starts to trade below 127, you're out of the trade. You'll still be in the money, I guess. Right. And on the upside, 133 would be my first target. If the stock crosses 133, I'm looking at an upside target of 136.
All right. Okay.
I'm not sure whose question this is. Do you see any companies in the Nifty 50 that are undervalued at this point?
Undervalued. That totally depends on. So I think Asian Paints still I feel is a little undervalued, not on the PE basis or anything, but the sheer kind of market share they have and pricing power they take over others. I think Asian Paints is one out of the whole structure where I feel that kind of a.
Well, Nishant Rai, hopefully that answers your question. That's Asian Paints for you.
All right, and moving on to NCC, a question from Manas Agrawal, and he wants to know what can be done with this one.
NCC
all right,
done.
So then moving on to another question, which is actually on. All right, we have a question on LTI. This is another interesting one, considering it is still in the news. That's L&T Infotech, that's the IT company. Any idea about LTI at 150? It was bought at 150 shares at 1,298.
Wow.
So making a profit, Sameer, you'd suggest he book out?
So I think he should book out, because if you see now L&T will focus on 2 IT firms.
IT firms, yes.
And now your cash, whether management gets deployed or not, that's a second question. But L&T's cash now gets deployed in 2 ways.
Yeah.
Now that really, I think incrementally, initially in the short term, will go in favor of Mindtree.
Right.
And not in L&T Infotech.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere or the other, this kind of a issue will come up in the shorter term, and it's better to get out of it.
Okay.
Very quickly, just buy or not. BHEL fresh entry for the next 6 months. Would you buy or not?
No, completely avoid
so
it.
that pretty much answers the question.
All right.
Rangarajan, Balakrishnan, I hope that helps you.
And well, we've run out of time on this show, so I am going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Sameer and Aditya, for helping our viewers with all their queries. That is all that we have on this edition of Ask BQ.
We apologize for the curtailed show today. If we didn't manage to take your queries, do tune in again tomorrow, and we hope to take as many of your queries as possible. That's all we have, like Agam said, but do stay tuned. Up next is Power Lunch. This is Bloomberg Quint.